times or 10 times or 100 times. Bhagavad Gita is such a depth of knowledge that every time you open a page of Gita, you'll get some new information. It is as if Lord Krishna is speaking to you directly. If you really want to learn what Krishna wants to say to you, just open a random page of Bhagavad Gita and Krishna will start speaking with you. Such a wonderful book. When you have a question and you can't find the answer, just open a Gita, a page randomly actually, and you'll get your answer. And this is my experience for so many years. I love reading Bhagavad Gita. I might have read Bhagavad Gita for more than 20, 25 times actually. But every time still I feel that there is so much depth of knowledge that it is never enough. So I was reading Bhagavad Gita other day. Actually, yesterday I was giving a class on Bhagavad Gita. And this was all about first, second and third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Actually, I have read it many times. I have listened to it many times from different speakers. But still, I got some more information about it. And so I thought maybe we'll talk about it. And the information which I want to share with you is self-awareness. How can it impact our life actually? This is what Lord Krishna speaks about in Bhagavad Gita. Nowadays, there are self-awareness workshops being conducted all over the world. People talk about self-awareness being one of the important management perspective actually. All the MBAs, big corporates, everybody is worried about self-awareness. Even the doctors, now because of the COVID, there is a lot of work for the doctors, So there is a burnout in the medical fraternity. There's a work-related stress. Some nurses did not sleep for like months and months, and the doctors had to work day and night, and there was a burnout issue. And then this came to the self-awareness that sometimes people do not know that they need help. People are suffering, but they don't know that they need help. So this is called self-awareness. Self-awareness means that being aware of your situation, that what I am going through, and do I really need somebody to help me out, or I'm just good by myself. Many doctors, they have stress-related issues like psychological stress, mental stress, depression, anxiety, and many of us have it. And there is help available. But we just don't know that we need help. And if we really need help, we don't know where to go for it. So this is all about self-awareness. And self-awareness helps us to overcome some of the major problems of our life. We all have some or other problems in our life, right? And then there are solutions for the problems. The solutions for the problems can be a temporary solution, like a band-aid, or a real solution which can remove the problem from the root of it. Bhagavad Gita is giving a temporary, is giving the root of the solution to the root of the problem, while most of the modern solutions, they are for the temporary solutions. And here we are going to learn from an example of a great warrior. His name is Arjun. Arjun is a great warrior. This is a story going back 5,000 years ago. And he was the greatest of all the archers at that particular time. And there was a battle which was about to begin in the Kurukshetra. And at that time, Arjuna breaks down. Arjuna has an episode of a depression. Actually, episode of depression can come at any moment of time. You might be feeling normal now, but maybe after 1 hour, you might be depressed. That can happen to anybody, and that happened exactly to Arjuna. Arjuna was the greatest fighter. He had lots of people supporting him, And the war is about to begin, the battle is about to begin. You know, the hundreds and thousands of armies have accumulated in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And he asked his driver here is the Arjuna at the back, and in front is his driver, chariot driver, whose name is Krishna. So Krishna is driving the chariot, and Arjuna is saying that Krishna please take my chariot between the two armies. And Arjuna, who was quite normal few minutes back, he can single-handedly defeat thousands of people actually. He's such a great warrior. Such a great person with lots of knowledge, lots of power, lot of strength. What happens to him? As soon as he stands in between the two armies, his legs start shivering. You know, his body starts trembling. His hairs on the hands, they stand on. He starts crying, and he feels that everything is rotating around himself like giddiness. Within few minutes, actually, the person who is much, maybe 10,000 or 100,000 times stronger than you and me, he is feeling depression, and he starts crying, and he starts speaking this to Lord Krishna. He says to Lord Krishna, you can repeat this shloka after me. This is from Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, 29th shloka. Vepasthuscha sharire me, Vepasthuscha sharire me, Romaharshasta jayate, Romaharshasta jayate, Ghandivam shamaste hastat, Ghandivam shamaste hastat, Tvakchaiva paridayate, Tvakchaiva paridayate. So Arjuna is saying to Lord Krishna, he's saying, Vepasthuscha sharire me. Vepasthu means trembling. He's saying, hey Krishna, my whole body is trembling. He's shivering actually. He says, Roma harshasya jayate. Roma harsha. Roma harsha means these hairs standing on end, like goosebump we call. Goosebumps we call. So he says, my hair is standing on end. Gandivam shamaste hastat. Gandiva is the name of Arjuna's bow. So he says, Gandivam shamaste. Shamaste means slipping. Hastat means from hand. So he says this Gandiva is slipping from my hands. And he says, Tvak chaiva paridayate. Tvak means skin. So he says, paridayate. My skin is burning. This is a classical sign of anxiety and depression. When you get anxious, when you have, say, job interview or something and you become really pressured, this is what happens. So Arjuna starts trembling, and he says to Krishna, as if I'm feeling that whole world is rotating around me. I just cannot feel comfortable here. And why is that happening with Arjuna? Because Arjuna sees that on the other side is his own family members, his grandfather, his guru, his cousin brothers. And on this side is his own brothers and his own army. So he starts thinking, oh my God, if I fight this war, then people will be killed. And he says, I do not want to fight. He says, I will be the cause of destruction, and I do not want to be the cause of destruction. So here he forgets his own duty, and he starts co-relating with his relationship, identity. Hmm? So the Arjuna starts lamenting to Lord Krishna, and he says, Krishna, what is the use of this battle at the cost of the lives of family and friends? I do not want to fight this war. I just cannot stand here anymore. So who one person who was like willing to fight like few minutes back, and as soon as he comes in the middle, he changes his mind. And now he's trembling. So there is a confusion in his mind that, oh, this kingdom which belonged to me has been forcefully taken away from me. The people who have tried to kill me, who are not willing to share anything of my rights, and I was willing to fight with them, but now what is happening? Now I cannot. I don't know what happened within such a short period of time, like from there to here, and whole my mind is changed. So he asked Krishna, that Krishna, I do not know what's happening with me. I just cannot decide. So what is Arjuna's problem here? Can you figure out?
Attachment.
Attachment is a very good answer. Can you figure out Arjuna's problem? Let's see, our online friends also can type. What is Arjuna's problem here?
I don't know. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Attachment's pretty good.
Yeah.
That,
How about you, Prabhu?
I think the Arjuna thought he was going to fight, but he did not. He was fearing or
Fear.
fear because the fear he lost his
Yeah,
mind.
and our Kadambariji online is also saying that fear is the problem, and you are also saying, and fear is correct actually. But he was fear of not the losing the battle, but he had a fear of like cause of destruction. He didn't have a fear of losing the battle. He had a fear that, oh, why should I be cause of destruction? That was his fear. And Parunji is saying that indecisive due to lack of knowledge. That is really good answer. Yes, indecisiveness. Do you want to say something? What is Arjuna's problem here?
He was going to fight against his own family.
Very good.
He was not confident.
Yes.
Because he didn't want to kill his own family.
Yes. Yes. So, but you know what is the root of the problem? So the root cause of the problem here with the Arjuna, and as our friends, everybody participated correctly, and all your answers are correct actually, nobody's wrong. And the root cause of the problem is here is the lack of knowledge. When you do not know what is right and what is wrong, then you may not know what decision to take.
lack of knowledge of his dharma, or
Lack of knowledge about himself, self awareness. He had a duty as a soldier, he had a duty as a brother, he has a duty as a grandson, he has a duty as a disciple of a guru. Now he was confused. He was not sure what am I doing here. Everybody has different roles, right? Here you have one role as a father, one role as a husband, one role as a teacher, one role as a social worker, one role as a friend, one role as a cousin of somebody. Everywhere there is a role, right? Like I have a role as a doctor. When I come to home, I have a role as a father. When I come in the temple, I have a role as a devotee. Different roles, right? Now there is a conflict of interest here. That is called Dharma Sankata. Dharma Sankata means that there is a problem and we don't know which way to go, this way or this way, which is right, which is wrong. Why that happens? Because we lack awareness of that particular movement. We are mixing everything. When you mix all different things, the problem starts there. You understand? When I'm working with a patient, I cannot mix my emotions there. I have to be very objective as a patient. I cannot start crying seeing the patient's blood. You understand? I have to control my emotions. Is that correct or wrong? So everybody has to be aware of a particular situation. But Arjuna's problem is he is not aware. He is mixing everything here. So that is called as self-awareness. And Lord Krishna then gives him a knowledge of self-awareness, which is called the science of self-realization. Unless and until you are clear about your duty, you will not be able to perform 100%.
He was aware of Krishna, like he says, he's going to give him knowledge.
Well, we will come to that point. But he was not aware what he is doing. So he took a decision that Krishna, I'm not going to fight. Without even thinking about his role and responsibility at that particular time. For example, if a country attacks on, say, there's a fight between, say, India and another country, and the other country is attacking India, and the commander-in-chief of Indian Army says that, oh, I cannot fight this war because if I fight this, then the soldiers on the other side will be killed, and who will look after their family members, and you know. So then what happens? Suppose Indian army decides they're not going to fight, so other army will invade and take over the whole country. Is that right or wrong? So he is misplacing his emotions. He is not aware of his role and responsibility at that particular moment. And that is called as lack of self-awareness. And that is because of lack of knowledge actually. You see, knowledge is a very important aspect in our life. COVID-19 could take life of so many people. Why? Because we had no knowledge about the virus. You understood? Once we had a knowledge about the virus, we could develop vaccine, we could take precaution, we could take all the preventive things. Right? So what is the lacking here? Knowledge. So knowledge is the key preventive measure. They say prevention is better than cure. Is that right?
Yes, you cannot fight the virus.
So how do you prevent? With the knowledge actually. Only and only knowledge can prevent the problems in your life. COVID-19 is one example. But there are so many problems which we face in our daily life. And all these problems can be prevented if we are aware of ourselves. So what are the problems? Some of our problems can be like say physical problems, we discussed one of them. Like if we are aware that okay, if I do exercise, then I can prevent so many problems in my life. If I can do proper diet, I can prevent so many problems in my life. Is that right? What is that called as? Knowledge. Right? Then we have a mental problems. Depression, anxiety, isolation, anger, addiction. Why all those problems are there? Because it's a lack of knowledge. People don't know how to deal with the mental health. If you tell them that this is the way you can keep your mental health nicely, and if people follow the instruction, knowledge can be a right. Then what other problems can you think of a problem in your life or other life? So I said physical problem, then mental problem. What other problem?
All problems come in one. Maybe we have a mental problem, don't have people or knowledge.
No, no. What I'm saying is that what other problems can you think of? Relationship problems? Yes. Fight between the friends, fight between the husband, wife, fight between one country and another, Russia and Ukraine fighting with each other, social problems. And then financial problems. Financial problems, market crash down, a loss of jobs, economics, now interest rate going up, everything is expensive. So all these are problems, right? And how can you solve all the problems? By knowledge, actually. Hare Krishna, welcome, welcome, welcome. Right? So here, the root cause of all the problems is, what is it called? What is the root cause of all the problems?
Lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge, that is true. You agree with that? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, welcome Betu, how are you? Nice to see you. We missed you for a long time. I like your tilak. Very good. Nice. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Nice to see you all. Welcome. So, we are discussing about the problems in our daily life, and everybody has one or other problems. And as we say that if we have a knowledge or gnana, then lots of problems can be prevented. And we gave one example like COVID-19, right? We got so many people died because in COVID-19 because we did not have knowledge about the virus. Once we know about the virus, then we develop the vaccine and we could prevent. So in our life also, we may get different problems, like physical problems, mental problems, relationship problems, economic problems, or maybe spiritual problems. But all these problems can be solved by knowledge. Hare Krishna. Knowledge is also described as light. Knowledge is called as light. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya. So knowledge is a light. Now, Bhagavad Gita teaches you science of self-awareness. And Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that if you are self-aware, then you can solve all the problems actually. So what is self-awareness? Can somebody help me with self-awareness? What do you understand by self-awareness? You know what is self-awareness? Anybody wants to say? Our online friends also can type. What is self-awareness? What is self-awareness? Are you aware of yourself? Yes, most of us are aware of ourselves, right? So, self-awareness means that to be aware about yourself, and there are two types of self-awareness. One is one is internal and second is external. So, what is external self-awareness? External self-awareness is based upon the based upon
Your environment or your dharma?
based upon the bodily identity. Body means we all think that okay, I am so and so, I am so and so. Okay, we ask you what is your name? Can you tell me your name? Risha Badal Kumar Shah. Is that correct? So we have external identity. One identity is our external identity, bodily identity. We say, I am this body, my name is so and so, I am a doctor, I am an engineer, I am a pharmacist, I am a physician, whatever it is. You have different identities. My father's name is this and this. I am Indian or I am Canadian, I am Hindu or I am Christian or I am Muslim. These are all our external identities. And because of this external identity, we have a sense of pride or ego. So we say, this is my book, this is my house, this is my computer, this is my, this is my, this is my. So this is called as external identity. Now, what happens when there is external awareness is that people say that I am this is me, this is mine, and all the bodily attachments are because of external awareness. Now, the problem with this is that there are many examples in the history in Bharatvarsha where people have this external awareness only, no internal awareness. The example of that is Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is an ideal example of external awareness only. So he was a blind king, and to occupy the kingdom which was not belonging to him, because of the external identity of me and mine, what did Dhritarashtra do? He promoted his son Duryodhana in an illegal way. And Duryodhana tried to kill Pandavas in multiple ways, tried to cheat and even humiliate Draupadi in front of everybody, the wife of Pandavas. Right? So, because of bodily attachment to the son, to his son, he promoted his son in wrongdoings actually. So that is the ideal example of external attachment or external identity. He had no identity beyond his bodily feelings. Hmm? There is another example of a king Uttanpad. King Uttanpad, he got married. He had two wives, two queens, Suniti and Suruchi. Suruchi was very beautiful. So King Uttanpad was very affectionate towards his wife, whose name was Suruchi. And because of that, Suniti, who was the another wife of Uttanpad, she had a son whose name was Dhruva. So he never paid any loving affection or any care for the other son. And the son of Suruchi, whose name was Uttama, was given a priority always. So here we can see that is a discrimination between the two children because of the external attachment, external identity. So there is a love and hatredness. I love someone and I hate someone. Why? Because we have a bodily identity with everybody. I like some particular person, I do not like particular person because of external identities. There is another example of in Ramayana. There is an example of Kaikai. Kaikai asked 14 years of exile for Lord Rama and wanted Bharat to be the king. Why? Because of me and mine. समझ में आ रहा है? मेरा और मैं. So these are called as the external identities. So when we think that this body is everything, actually our body is not everything, because after few years your body is going to get finished. Everybody agrees with that? How many years it will last, your body? How about you, Prabhu? How many years body will last? 100 years?
No idea.
No idea. How about you?
70.
70 years? You're 20, so 70 more, so 90. How about you?
60.
60 more. So everybody has different expectation. But everybody agrees that the body is not going to last forever. Is that correct? So what happens when the body is finished? Whatever me and mine is finished actually. You agree with that? Or no? You had a lot of money, and what happened to that money? If some one millionaire had like $10 billion in his bank account and his body is finished, what happened to that 10 million? What happened to 10 million? Doesn't know.
Doesn't go with them.
It doesn't go with you, right? If you are a doctor, you work very hard day and night to get the degree, and then the body is all of a sudden finished accidentally. What happened? Degree is finished now. Degree doesn't come with you. All the family members and friends, they don't come with you. What comes with you then? Only the soul gets transferred. That's you yourself gets transferred. You understand it? So this is like if you have a box of gulab jamun or a sweet, जब हम मिठाई खरीदते तो box कैसे आता है? How does the sweet come? एक box में आता है ना? When you buy sweets or some dessert, it comes in a nice packing, right? Then what happens when you bring home? You take out from the box, and what do you do next? You put it in the plate. Is that right? So what happened to the box? Go to the garbage. And then the gulab jamun is in the plate. So now what is important? The box or a plate? What is important? What is important here? Box or a plate? It is a gulab jamun which is important, right? It is just the transfer of the material. You are looking for the sweet. You are not looking for a box or a, you understand? Similarly, this body is just like a box. You understand? Now this might be in a body. Yes, you have a question?
Box is like a body, and the inner part is like gulab jamun is our soul.
Soul, correct.
It got transferred to the plate, so our soul got
Transfer to the another body.
and like the box is to the garbage.
Ah, correct. Similarly, as soon as the body is finished, The soul is transferred to another box or another plate. So what is important? The soul is important. Yes, that's correct. Is correct, but that was an analogy, not real. Mhm.
Man should sleep.
So the idea here is that we are, if say I have this cell phone here, okay, when you buy a cell phone, it comes in a nice box, right? Is that correct? And then you buy the box with the phone, and then what do you do next? You remove the box and then you use the cell phone. You never carry the box with you. Is that correct? Because the box is of no use now. The phone is there with you. So what was the function of the box? To transfer the phone to you. Is that correct? Similarly, the body is there. Body is just like a box. And ये box में क्या है? आत्मा है ना? So what is valuable, the body or the soul? Because I know that box is not going to last forever. This box, as I said, the box is important, the phone is important. The phone is important. Similarly, the body is the box in which the soul is embedded. Is that correct? So क्या important है? आत्मा important है ना? It's the soul which is important. Nothing else is important. And that is where we are forgetting. And that is what is the external attachment or external awareness. We all identify ourselves, we see in the mirror ourselves and try to make ourselves beautiful. But this external beauty is just like pampering the box. And you're forgetting what is inside. You get the point? Right? So here, Arjuna's problem, and we saw in example in the history that people who worried about their body, they created problems for themselves. You understand? Like we saw the example of Dhritarashtra, Uttanpad, Kaikai, all attached with the external things. And then same example with the Arjuna. Arjuna also is worried about the box. He's not worried about the things inside. Huh? Everybody is getting this point? Huh? So there are two types of awareness. One awareness is external awareness, thinking yourself as a body, and then looking at yourself and saying that, okay, I am this, I'm like all external achievements which are related with the body. And then everything related with the body is causing you anxiety. Huh? So ye mera hai, this is mine, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is me. And that is what is causing the problem in the life of Arjuna. Arjuna is forgetting his identity as a soul. And he's thinking that he is the body. And that is where the knowledge is missing. Right? So now, our online friends, to know our position in relationship with Krishna, spiritual awareness. Yes, that's correct. So now, because of this external identity also, we get a lot of problems in our daily life also. Huh? Like when you get married, this gets a problem. Mother and the wife, there is always a problem. Mother wants something and the wife wants something. And the husband is always in a problem. This is called as material perplexities. Huh? There is always, because of these external identities, there is a problem in the parents also. One, say, father wants child to be developed in a particular way, and mother wants a child to be developed in a particular way. For example, in India, father wants child to be in English medium, and mother may want child to be in the Gujarati medium or Hindi medium or something like that. There's always argument, right? And then because of this external identity crisis, we have family problems, fight between husband and wife, or suspicion. Actually, nowadays is this is another thing. Suspicion on the character of the partner. So these are all because of external lack of self-awareness. And as I said, that physical problems, mental problems, social problems, and economic problems all are related with root causes, lack of knowledge or lack of self-awareness, right? And as I said that if you are you have a knowledge, you can prevent lots of these problems. अगर आपके पास कोई ज्ञान है, विज्ञान है, तो आप बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स रोक सकते हैं, है ना? If you have a knowledge about some particular disease, then you can prevent the disease. If you have a knowledge that, okay, somebody is going to give you a hard time, you can prevent yourself. Is that right? Or no? So, Lord Krishna gives science of complete awareness in Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Krishna describes self-awareness as a solution to all the problems. If we are really aware of ourselves, then we can solve many of the problems. And Lord Krishna gives two types of solutions here. One is external awareness and internal awareness. So external awareness is all about external things. We just talked about it. External awareness, we are all attracted to the external things, right? This is a famous film actress. We think that they are very beautiful. Nowadays, everything is about external beauty, right? Social media is all about. All selfies is about. What is selfie about? People take the selfie. What is selfie about? Self-awareness, right? But it is external. But the same person when dies, how ugly that person looks. You see that? This is the same person who was killed, who died actually. And this is the picture. A person who was looking so beautiful, after the death, the same person does not look any more beautiful. Why? What is that? The chemicals are all there in the body. All the chemicals which were there when she was alive are still there in the body. But what is that is missing? No feeling, no thinking, no emotions, right? No movement, no consciousness. And what is that missing in the body? That is the soul which is missing. So that beauty was not because of the external things. It was the soul which is giving beauty. Shri Shri Gaur Nithai ki Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki Shri Shri Radha Vrajvatsal ki Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra ji ki jai Shri Giriraj Dharan ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So after death, chemicals are the same, but what is gone? Soul, Atma is gone, right? So this is called as internal awareness. So there are two types of awareness. One is external and one is internal self-awareness. And internal self-awareness, Lord Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita. This is the second chapter, 13th shloka. You can repeat after me. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Kaumaram yauvanam jara. Kaumaram yauvanam jara. Tatha dehantara praptir. Tatha dehantara praptir. Dhirastatra namuyati. Dhirastatra namuyati. So here Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, can you read loudly for everybody, Risha? English? You want to read loudly? Okay, here you go. Read loudly for everybody, okay? Okay, go ahead.
As the
Embodied
embodied
soul
soul continuously passes in this body
from
from boyhood
to youth,
to youth to old age,
yes,
the soul similarly passes to another body at death.
very good. So can you tell me what does it mean?
Mm,
What is the meaning of this shloka? You can tell everybody? Can you look at everybody and tell them? Okay, can you tell them? What is the meaning of this? You know the meaning? No? Okay, you know it. Okay, so here Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, big round of applause to Vrisha. Thank you, Vrisha. So what is Lord Krishna is saying? That in this life we change the body, right? Like Vrisha is very small now, then she will grow bigger, then she will become like yours, age 22, 24 years, then she will grow more. Then what happens to the body? Body keeps on changing, right? But what remains the constant? The soul. And then when we become very old, like 80, 90, 100 years old, what happens then? The body is finished, right? And then what happens? The soul has to go to the another body. You can see in this picture, right? The soul is transmigrating. This is internal awareness. This is our awareness about ourselves, that I am not this sharira. This sharira is a covering. This is a box given to me. My body, I am trapped in this body. I am now currently having a human experience. My box is going to change one day, and I don't know which box I will get, right? But we are all going to change the body one day. This is called as the self-awareness. What is the self-awareness here? The body and the soul are distinct. I am not this sharira. I am not this body. But most of the time we identify ourselves with the body, and that is where we go wrong. And soul is the active principle and body is inert. As soon as the soul is removed, the body has no activity. Soul is the main thing in all our body. Body is the instrument through which the soul is experiencing this. So now I am having a human experience. In the next life, as soon as this body is finished, like as I said, you remove the box, throw the box, and then this is the soul. So then you will have another box, maybe animal, maybe a bird, maybe insect, maybe a reptile. You don't know which box you will get, right? So this is called as complete awareness. And then Lord Krishna further says to Arjuna, Vamsamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grahati naroparani तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयन्ति नवानि देहि. So भगवान कृष्ण अर्जुन को क्या कहते हैं? As a person puts on new garments, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. As our clothes become old, what do? We throw the clothes and we buy the new garments, right? Similarly, when our body becomes old, we have to give up this body and get the another body. That is called as transmigration or reincarnation. So this can be compared with this person sitting here in the picture. He has like a shirt, and on the shirt he's wearing a jacket, right? So the person himself is the soul, okay? And then the shirt is compared with the subtle body or sukshma sharira. What is it called? Sukshma sharira. Sukshma means subtle, which means you cannot see it. Huh? And then on the top is the jacket. Jacket is compared with the gross body or sthula sharira. So this body is gross body, huh? Like a jacket. You can see my hands, you can see my eyes, ears, everything, right? But inside this body there is another covering, which is called subtle, which you cannot see. What is that? Which is made up of mind, intelligence, and ego. We cannot see the mind. Can I see your mind? You cannot see the mind. You cannot see the intelligence. You cannot see the ego. So this is called subtle body. Huh? So there is one covering. So Atma covered by one covering, which is called subtle, and then gross, right? So these are two types of coverings. Okay. So here another way you can understand this is in there's another picture. Here is the body is covered by two types of coverings. Okay. So this is the gross covering. What is the gross covering? This sharira. Okay. It is made up of blood, bones, then muscle. There is a lot of fluid inside it, lots of different and gases, so it's called Earth, water, air, fire and ether. Bhumi, apo, analo, vayu. Huh? So what happens when we die? They burn our body, right? In Hindu culture, they burn the body. In other cultures, they bury the body in the ground. But whatever it is, ultimately body goes back into the natural elements. It is merged into that, right? So this is gross body. Then there is another covering. Within this covering, there is another covering. This is subtle body. Man, buddhi and ahankar. Mind, intelligence and ego. And then yourself inside. This is called soul. Can you see that? So there is yourself soul. उसके बाहर क्या है? Subtle body. उसमें क्या क्या आता है? What is that? Mind, intelligence, false ego. And then the gross body. Gross body में क्या आता है? All the body elements. So what happens when this body is finished? Actually, only gross body is finished. The mind, intelligence, ego, along with the soul, it goes to another body. That is why some people can remember their past lives. आपने सुना है किसको पिछला जन्म याद आता है? नहीं सुना? You can Google YouTube, lots of interviews of small children remembering past lives. There is a scientist in America, his name is Ian Stevenson. He has done experiment on 3,000 young children who are remembering their past lives. And these children can identify everybody in the previous life family also. There are many proven evidences that reincarnation does exist. If any of us undergo regression under hypnotism, we can also remember our past lives. We all have ability to remember up to 3 past lives at this time. And then deeper regression, you can remember more. But we all have this ability. This is scientifically proven. So what happens when we die? The body dies actually, we don't die. The subtle body goes to another body along with the soul. And that is why you might have seen some children like 2 years or 5 years, they can play music like an expert piano. Or have you seen that? In the big movie shows and all those, They have small children who have never taken any training, but they know piano like anything or music, they can sing like anything. Because they have a memory from the previous life. There are so many people having miraculous power because they have something from their Purva Janma. So this is what is self-awareness. Self-awareness is that knowing that, okay, I am beyond this body. I have much more power than what I think about myself actually. So then further, Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna about mind. Okay, so now we talked about the body, which is made up of. Now, what is the mind? So Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna about the mind. What is the function of the mind? Man ka kya kaam hai? What is the function of the mind? Who will tell me? Huh?
Control the whole body.
Control the body? Yes. Anybody else want to say function of the mind?
Thought process.
Thinking? Yes. Any other function of the mind? Controlling the body, thought process. Man ka kya kaam hai? Huh? So, mind function is thinking, feeling and willing. Sochna, emotions and willing, determination also comes from mind. And then there is the intelligence. What is the power of intelligence? What is the function of intelligence? So, function of the body, function of the mind, function of intelligence. What is the difference between mind and intelligence? मन और बुद्धि में क्या फर्क है? What is the difference? Anybody? Everybody has intelligence and everybody has mind. What is the difference between mind and intelligence? So sometimes your mind wants to do something, but your intelligence will say, oh, you do this is not good. For example, like you're crossing the road and you're running and then the car is coming. Then the mind will say, okay, I want to go, but the intelligence will say, stop. Is that right? When you're doing something and then your mind will say, I want to do it, but intelligence will say, this is not good to do it. Right? So intelligence is what? What is the function of intelligence in your body? Intelligence is a decision maker. And mind is controlling the senses. So when intelligence decide, then mind will give the command to senses. For example, your intelligence decided that you want to go to temple. Then your mind thought, okay, let's go to the temple. So you dressed up And then what did you do? You took a car or a bus or whatever it is, and then your senses started working and then came. So what was that covering? The main decision was taken by intelligence. You had many choices. You had a choice to see a movie, you had a choice to go with a friend, you had a choice to just sit and sleep also. But your intelligence took a decision that I want to go to temple. So that was your intelligence. So this is how your body works. So intelligence is a decision maker, and the mind is the storehouse of all the emotions, your thought processes, memory, everything. And then mind gives commands to senses. And this is how your body works. Intelligence is the higher authority, then the mind, and then the senses. This can also be compared with a chariot. A chariot has horses, right? And then there is a rein. Rein is a rope, which is controlling. And then there is a driver here. And there is a passenger in the back. Can you see that all? So, this senses can be compared with the horses. The rein is compared with the mind. And the driver is the intelligence. So, intelligence will control the mind. And then the mind will control the horses. You understand this? This is the sequence. And then the soul is a passenger. Soul is inert actually. Soul is a traveler in this box. Okay. So now what is most important here? Soul is important, correct? Yes. And then is the intelligence. Who is the close neighborhood of soul? Intelligence, right? They are very closely packed. Now suppose senses and mind works independently. They don't obey the orders of intelligence. What will happen? If all horses start deciding that one horse says I will go to left, another says right, and the middle horse says I will go straight, what will happen? Your cart will not move anywhere, right? Or your cart will go in a ditch if one horse is powerful than other. Is that right? And if the mind starts working independently of intelligence, then also your cart will not work properly, right? So it has to be in a hierarchy. Intelligence give command to mind, mind command gives to senses. So the intelligence is very important, and this intelligence has to be purified. Most of the time in our life, our intelligence is polluted. And the intelligence can be purified only with knowledge. And that is where Bhagavad Gita comes in picture. That is what Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, in Bhagavad Gita. In 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna about this power of mind and power of intelligence. So Lord Krishna says to Arjuna here that, something happened here, sorry. Okay, my PowerPoint crashed actually. But Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna here in Bhagavad Gita that, hey Arjuna, this mind is very powerful and you have to control this mind. If you do not control this mind, then this mind will become your enemy actually. And that is what happened exactly in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that mind started acting independently. Mind acted independently of intelligence. And Arjuna's intelligence was completely external intelligence. He was not aware of spiritual identity. And that is where the problem was. Okay, let me go back to the slide here. So Lord Krishna is giving the instruction to Arjuna about how to control the mind and intelligence. And mind and intelligence governs our behavior. If you really want to change your behavior, your decision making, then your mind has to be changed. And if you want to change your mind, you have to change your intelligence, right? So, mind can be your friend or enemy, right? So here is the nature of the mind. When mind is controlled nicely, then it becomes your friend. But when the same mind which is not controlled, then it will become your worst enemy ever, right? So here, Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that, Arjuna, you are crying now because your mind has overtaken your life. But you have to think intelligently that what is my role at this time as a soldier, right? Everybody has different roles in our life, and our roles, according to our roles, we have to use our responsibilities also. So Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, instead of making your mind as your enemy, make your mind as a friend. And how do you control your mind? So Arjuna says, Krishna, I can change the direction of the wind, but I cannot change the direction of the mind. I cannot control the mind. So another analogy can be a knife. A knife, is knife good or bad? It depends upon what you use it for, right? If you give the knife to a surgeon, then the surgeon will save somebody. And if the same knife is given to some miscreant, then he can kill somebody, right? Is social media good or bad? It depends upon what you use it for. There is a smartphone good or bad? It depends upon what you use it for. Nothing is absolute, everything is relative here, right? What you use it for. Similarly, mind is like that. Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, you have to purify your mind with intelligence. There is this GIGO principle. Anybody knows this principle we talked about before? GIGO? Ah, very nice. This is, if you put the garbage in, then garbage will go out, right? And if you have good in, good out, right? So it depends upon what you are putting in your brain through the intelligence. If you have a proper good association, then the good things will go in your mind, good intelligence will go. Most of the time our brain has some scripts. Where do we get the script of our mind from? Most of the times your thought script come from. Where do we get the scripts from? We get from the reading what we do, right? Movies what we see, music what we hear, and birds of same feather flock together, right? Is that right? So your company decides a lot, right? So your awareness about yourself will depend upon what company you keep with. If you associate with good people, spiritual people, you have a spiritual awareness. If you associate with materialistic people, you have material awareness. What you associate decides your life, right? So Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, you have to purify your awareness. Now, most of the time, as I said, that we are always on the external awareness, right? External awareness means that I am this Sharira, I am this body, and we all identify ourselves with the body, or sometimes with our degree and qualifications. We don't know anything more than that, right? So what happens when we have only external awareness? Only external awareness leads to serious problems in our life. Most of the time, people have said, this is my opinion. Have you seen that, heard that before? This is my opinion. I know it all. Don't tell me anything. If you tell somebody that I know it all, that is the simple problem because of external awareness. Then, serious than that, if you tell them something good, that please don't do it, they will get irritated. And then they will not be a good team player. Especially you see in the big organizations, when you are working in a team, a lot of people in your team, if you're a good team player, then you will listen others. But sometimes people have so much ego, they do not listen others. And then the grave problem because of external awareness only is bad mouthing, criticizing others, talking bad about something back. And then sometimes people do not tolerate at all. So they say, I quit. They are solo players. They can't work in a team, right? So if you really want to progress in your corporate life, business life, if you want to work in a professional life, what do you have to have? You have to have a good awareness, and not only about yourself, but about everybody else around you. And that is what is called as complete awareness. Complete awareness, Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita Second chapter, 14th shloka, Lord Krishna says that if you really want to be successful in your personal life, professional life, or whatever the life you want to be, then you have to understand this shloka. What is that says? Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitashnu sukha dukkada agama paino nityas tam satitikshav bharata. So Bhagavan क्या कहते हैं अर्जुन को? Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that, hey Arjuna, if you really want to be successful, then you have to learn to tolerate. You can't be angry at every moment. You can't be disappointed at small things in your life. Because in the life, it's just like summer and winter season. As the summer comes and goes, winter comes and goes. Similarly, there will be good times, there will be bad times. What you have to do? You have to tolerate it. And why do we have this? Because we get summer and winter because we have perception, keen perception, right? In the life also, good and bad is also perception. Life is all about perception. You know, somebody whom you like today, tomorrow you will have a fight with him. Hota hai aisa? You see, husband and wife, before marriage, they say, I love you, love you. And then after marriage, they don't want to see each other, right? So that happens in the life. Why is that so? Because life is all about perception, and perception keeps on changing. So what do you have to do? Changing perceptions. Suppose I have a good image about you today, but then tomorrow I know something more about you. Then what happens? My image changes. Is that right? So it's all about perception, right? So somebody tells something wrong about me to you, then your perception about me will completely change, right? I am the same, but now you have some additional information which may or may not be true. So now your perception is different. So life is all about perception. Good and bad is all about perception. What is good for you may be bad for me. Some people meat eating is good, for me it is bad. So for me it's a wrong thing. So life is all about perception. So what do we do? If somebody is eating meat, what do we do? Do we hate them? Do we say anything bad to them? No, we just tolerate. We don't say anything to anyone. Right? If somebody does anything wrong to you, just don't go and fight with him immediately. Just tolerate. Right? If somebody is doing wrong with some innocent person, like say somebody is coming and hitting a baby or abusing someone who is innocent, yes, then you become angry. Like in Ramayana, there is an example of Hanumanji. When Ravana was abusing Hanumanji didn't say anything to Ravana. But when Ravana started abusing Ramachandraji, then he said, I'm going to teach you a lesson now. Right? So in the life, we have to tolerate. So from that shloka, if you really want to be successful in your life, then we have to change our tab. What is tab stands for? Tab stands for T for thinking, A for attitude, and B for behavior. So if you change your tab, your life will change. Your thinking means your awareness has to be changed. I am not just only one person on the planet, or I don't have all the rights. I'm just one of those millions of people on the planet. I'm not all knowledgeable. If somebody has extra knowledge, I will accept it. If something is useful for me from Bible, I will take it. Something useful for me from Quran, I will take it. Something useful for me from Granth Sahib, I will take it. Why? Because everybody has a good knowledge, and good knowledge has to be taken. Chanakya Pandit used to say that if there is a pile of gold in a garbage bin, then what do? If there is a big brick of gold in the garbage, what do? Would you take it or no? No? That's a fool number one. I will take it. I can take a shower after that, but why to leave the gold? It's a brick of gold, $1 million worth. Would you leave it? I don't think so. I will take it. Similarly, the good things has to be taken from everywhere. You know, each of us sitting here, everybody has a good quality. And we have to learn from Everyone around us. Everybody has some positive things to convey. So we have to change our thinking. When we change our thinking, then we change our attitude. So first is thought, then is our attitude. Attitude is what? The way you look at the things. When you change your thinking, then attitude will change. If you look at a glass which is filled of half with water and half with air, it's empty. But attitude can be the half is glass is half full. You can say glass is half empty, or you can say glass is full, half with air, half with water. So that is your attitude. So once your thinking changes, your attitude changes, and what happens next? When attitude changes, your behavior changes, and that is what Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna, that Arjuna, change your thinking pattern. Then Krishna changes the attitude through karma yoga, and then Arjuna's behavior also changes at the end of the conversation of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, who was not ready to fight, he says, okay, karishya vachanam tava, I will fight, and then he wins the war. So how did that happen? Thinking, attitude, and behavior. So from your behavior, you can know what is your attitude. And from attitude, you know what is your thinking process. And you can go back also. So if you change your attitude, if you change your thinking pattern, then you can become a good team player. For example, attitude to my opinion, this is my opinion, this is my opinion, this is me, then you can change as my team members say that I don't hear their opinions. Some people will say, okay, you don't listen to me. I've been told a couple of times, oh, you don't listen. So now I would say, okay, I have to start thinking about it, something about it. They also say that I get very upset when they present their opinion. When you get an evaluation from your seniors, they write some of these remarks. Okay, this person do not listen to any opinions. He is very hot-tempered. This can be a remark in your promotions also. Or he won't listen. He won't let others speak also. He just keep on speaking. ये होता है कभी कभी जब when you are in corporates or you're in big organization, there will be one person who will be always speaking and won't allow to speak. So then when you change your attitude, then what happens? When you start thinking that, okay, if I'm doing this, then this is not good for me, right? And then I have to think about how did I get this habit of not allowing others to speak? And then how can I change this habit? Now I will have to give up all the bad habits and I will replace it with good habits. So this is how you change your thinking, attitude and behavior, right? So this is called tab, right? So this, as I said, if you want to change your life, change your thinking, change your attitude and change your behavior, right? How do you change your thinking? With the awareness that you are not this body, but you are a spirit soul, and everybody around us have a right to say something. You have to just listen, and if it agrees with us, we take it. If it is good, you take it. If it is not, then you leave it. Then you have attitude that, okay, I will be accepting. And then your behavior. How do you change the behavior then? You accept, you have a plan of action, and then you practice upon it, right? So this is how you change your behavior. So here is the picture. First is you think about what is right. Then you choose the right. And then you have a practice of it. So thought, thinking, attitude and behavior. For example, like say, here is the example, I'm going to show it to you. One of your behavior is that you found out that insulting speech or harsh speech disturbs people, and you found that, okay, polite behavior or polite speech is good. So what do? The next, you start speaking politely, and then next one is you watch your speech and daily you make a habit and you will give compliments to others instead of criticizing others. So maybe you find, okay, every day 3 people I will say good words to them or I will compliment them. So in this way you can change our behavior. So thinking, attitude and behavior. This is what all about Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna hears Arjuna, then he changes his thinking process by giving him karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga. And after going 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's attitude is different now. And then he starts fighting and he wins the war. Similarly, in our life also, if we really want to be successful, then we have to change our thinking process. We cannot be thinking the same way as we are thinking and think of being successful. It's not possible. Right? So if you really want to be successful, then you have to change our thinking. With that, we'll pause here. Any questions anybody has? No? Okay, so we'll do the Aarti ceremony, and then after Aarti we have Prashadam across the hall. So please join us for the Prashadam. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we request everybody to stand up for the Aarti. Aage aa jayega, please come in the front and we'll do the Aarti ceremony. I'd like to thank all my friends who joined us online today. Kadambari ji, Parul ji, Shaili, thank you so much for joining us. Please stay back for the Aarti if you can. If not, then that's fine also. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So आगे आ जाइएगा सब प्लीज. Thank you.